deal with the internal issues?
Everything depends on that. I mean, there are a lot of fracturing within the regime at the moment, but all of them are united at the moment in the notion that the idea of war, the saber rattling, and the potential that a war could start is something that could extend the survival of the Iranian regime.
Yeah, and you mentioned saber rattling. We have plenty of it right now around the Straits of Hormuz. Probably an increasingly more people probably learning about geography at this point in the Middle East than they have in a while. It's a narrow passage. A lot of oil goes through it. It's sort of the hot spot, if you will. We talk about hot spotting. If you wanted to really pick one place on the earth where you could intervene with oil supplies, that would be the spot. Your perspective on the saber rattling from both sides?
Well, Iran's economy has suffered a blow in the last only a few weeks in a way that it has not suffered in the last 32 years. The currency, the Iranian currency, has dropped in its value by nearly 15%. And this has created a great deal of stress, not only on the ordinary people, but also on the regime. So in light of that, for the regime to say that it would shut down the Strait of Hormuz, it would be to shoot themselves in the foot, to say the least, because it would worsen a really ill economy at the moment.
And I tend to agree with that perspective, Tony. It's the saber rattling is sort of easy to get people worked up, right. But if you put yourself in the chair in Iran, and I didn't even know about the 15% currency devaluation the past couple of weeks. It would be utter suicide for Iran to deprive themselves of the only flow of cash that they really have, and it's a massive one.
And let's consider they're doing what the North Koreans have always done very well, brinksmanship. It's not about actually doing things to prompt us to action. It's taking us up to that brink and then backing off. They are a net importer of gas. They can't refine it to meet their own requirements. And frankly, as she just pointed out, they would lose big time in any circumstance where that strait is not open to allow them to export the 20% or the 1/3 of the somewhere in that percentage of oil out to actually have income coming in. They're all about maintaining power, Dylan. That's what the government there is trying to do. And if you look at it and understand it from that perspective, you'll understand everything else they're doing.
So, Roya, in that context, what would you recommend to the people who watch this program, to those who have an interest in this? What should we know? What should we learn about the nature of those power dynamics so we can get better at sifting through the nonsense and understanding what's really going on?
Well, there's a lot I could say, but let me start by saying that now that we're in the middle of an election year again, let's hope that in this round of elections that both the Republicans and the Democrats would be smart enough and would have learned their lessons from at least the last round of elections, that we should have a bipartisan position on the subject of Iran. In the last round of elections, if you remember, McCain and Obama had two diagonally opposed positions on the subject of Iran.
And what would you suggest that would be?
Let us agree that negotiations have not been helpful. Let us agree that we have come this far and that we should keep pressure on economically. Let us also agree that war with Iran is a bad idea. And that we have created this pressure, which is yielding in the kind of results that we haven't seen in 32 years. And let us hope that the next administration will move forward from this point.
I have got to wrap this, but in the context of the currency devaluation, I do wonder whether the stick is obvious in terms of the punishment and deprivation and the sanctions. Is there an opportunity for the international community to provide a carrot to Iran right now while they're sweating the currency devaluation and say, listen, we will lift the sanctions, we will drive investment if you disarm now at a time when they're experiencing vastly more pain and as a result may have a greater incentive?
Well, the carrot I would like for them to present, whether Iran would take it or not is up to question, is free all the political prisoners that you took in after the uprisings of 2009. Hold a free and open election in the next round of presidential elections.
Those are demands, not a carrot. The carrot would be the opportunity to get investment and relief of sanctions.
Well,
if you complied with those things,
well, but
right?
Dylan, I think we haven't delivered enough sticks to Iran to live up to our demands, and Iran has set a lot of the demands thus far, and we have met them. So let's do the reverse, and let us deliver a couple of more sticks before we offer them a carrot.
Understood. Listen, Roya, thank you so much for your insight and your perspective. It is unique and very valuable to this conversation. Tony, the same thing goes for you. I thank both of you. Tony Shaffer, Roya Hakakian, Roya's book, Assassins of the Turquoise Palace.